Welcome to Unraveled Mind. My name is Antonio, and I'm here with you today to talk to you about awareness, the first step to change. Stay tuned, let's play. This is another video in my Life Mastery series. I will leave a link to the playlist in my description. Feel free to check out any other videos that might be out already. But without further ado, I would like to really start exploring what is awareness and why is it important, or why do I think it's important enough for me to include it in this series. And we can start by looking at the word itself. Awareness. This suffix ness, at least in the English language, it really means a state of something. And the same way that happiness is a state of being happy, awareness is a state of being aware. But then the question is, what really is to be aware? And for me, to be aware is to observe something, to observe, in this case, yourself and the present moment. Because for me, awareness is all about observation. It's all about being in a state of observation about what's truly going on with you, around you. Because when people say, I'm aware of something, I'm aware of the birds chirping outside, I'm aware of the feeling of the chair that I'm sitting on. And these are things that you can be aware, but what does it mean? Is you are currently observing the birds chirping outside. You're currently observing the sensation of the chair where I'm sitting on, and this is what I truly mean, is this state of observing and noticing these things. And another way that I like to think of awareness is as knowledge. And when most people think of knowledge, they think of things they've learned in school, they think of mathematics, science, they think of dates from history. And what I mean here by knowledge is a little bit different. What I mean here is experimental knowledge, is things you learn through experience. And I will explore this further in a video on this series that will be more geared towards learning. But I would argue that anything that you've learned in school, unless you also experimented with this concept or this idea through directly in your life, I would argue that what you've learned in school is not true knowledge. It's just beliefs that you were taught. And just for example, it's really not the focus, but I would just like to, because this is an important idea to then understand what awareness is and this distinction, is, for example, we've learned in school that we are all made of electrons, and we are all made of atoms, and there's the atom and there's the electron moving around it. And this is very good, but you believe that the atoms exist, and you believe that this atom model is real because you were taught in class. You never really experience yourself as being a collection of atoms. And you would say, but this is not possible to experience directly. And might be. I'm not going to argue that. I just want to clarify that you don't have knowledge about atoms being the entire composition of your body because you've never been able to experience this directly. You have that belief, and of course I'm not going to argue against that being not true. I'm just saying that this is different because you've never really experienced this. And just dropping this point and just moving to another one that I will also like to present is really, imagine a small child, and any parent that has a small child knows what I'm talking about. Is if you tell them when they're really little and they haven't really experienced much about the dangers in the kitchen, you tell them, don't put your hand in the hot stove because you're going to burn yourself and it's going to hurt. And maybe they're like, yeah, okay, understand. But what are they going to do? They're going to put their hand there and they're going to burn themselves. And because before they didn't know that the stove is hot. They might have believed you, they might have understood what you said, but until they actually put their hand in there and they experienced it, they don't really know what it means that the stove is hot. It's only after they experienced it for themselves, now they know. It's not this abstract knowledge anymore of the stove is hot. Now they know the stove is hot, and that means that my hand is gonna get burned, and that means pain, and that means I should avoid it. And now it's really concrete and clear for them. And this is what I've been, my experimental knowledge, and what awareness brings is really this is really observation of your experiences and being able to then acquire this knowledge through your experiences. But for that you need awareness. And that leads me to the next point, which is habits and why they are so important, but also why they are such a big danger and why they are a big problem in many people's lives. Your life can be seen as a reflection of your habits, because if you have poor habits, you're gonna have a poor life, and if you have good habits, you're gonna have a good life. And this is an idea that's very popular around the self-help and this personal development circles. It's a very popular idea, and I do agree. It's very important to have good habits, and it's very important to also notice the bad habits and trying to change them. But also, anyone who has tried to do this knows that this is not an easy process. To change a habit is not easy. And as I said in the beginning, in the introduction of this video, awareness is the first step to any change. And why is that? And this is what I would like to really explore here. Is because what is an habit? An habit is an automatic behavior. An habit is something you don't have to think about anymore, because it's either you've repeated so often, or it's just what everyone else does, that you don't spend time thinking about it and you just execute this habit. And because it's running automatically, you don't have really control over it. You are not deciding to do these things. This is coming at a lower level. It's coming from your subconscious. And trying to change your subconscious is very hard if you don't know how. And most people, they just decide one day, this is what I see this behavior in me, I want to change it, let's go. I have the new behavior that I want. And then they try, and they are gonna have a problem, because it's not gonna go easy. Your subconscious doesn't. It's not easy to convince your subconscious with just a decision that you make, and then you say, now this is how it is. It requires a little bit more nuance than this. And what's important here is to change this from an automatic behavior to an intentional and conscious and manual behavior. And the way that you can do this is through awareness. And a beautiful way that I saw this is when you're executing a habit, it's automatic. But from the moment that you bring awareness to what you're doing, then it's no longer a habit, it's a choice. And a choice you can always change. And I found this idea really beautiful. I don't know where I've heard it from, so sorry, I cannot really provide you a source. But I like this idea a lot, because it's true. You cannot change an habit because it's automatic. You cannot consciously change something you have no control over, because it's automatic. But if you bring your awareness, if you're observing when you're doing the habit, when you're observing yourself, then it's no longer automatic. Then you see yourself moving. You see yourself going through this behavior. You see what's going on. And from that space, you can decide something different, because now it's a choice. Well, I can continue this behavior, or I can choose something different. And of course, this is not easy. But once again, I just mentioned that awareness is the first step, and this is what I want, is this changing from an automatic behavior to a conscious and manual behavior. This is the first step. And then you need more things to be able to make it stick and then change this habit completely. And maybe this will also become a little bit more clear with an example. And an example that I can say from my experience and from a lot of people I've worked and talked with is this. no one is ever satisfied with their time management. Everyone sees that they have a problem with procrastination, no matter how successful and how productive I see them to be, or they appear to be. Everyone says, I could have done more. Everyone remembers they could have worked for 12 hours straight. But they will only remember that 30 minutes that they spend on Facebook or on Instagram or playing some video game. And yeah, it's then very normal for people to then decide and to want to change this. Procrastination, when we think about it, it's not productive. We are not really achieving much. And when people realize that I really have this time that I have that I'm not really doing anything that supports me, and once again is being aware of a bad habit that they have, which is social media, video games, watching TV, is just these activities that doesn't really help support you most of the time. They realize this and then they want to change, and then they say, I could be reading a book instead, I could be learning something new, even if not directly I should be working, I could be doing something different, some other activity that maybe would support me better. And yeah, most people come to this realization, and they have this realization that I could be doing something different, but still, then it's hard for them to actually change, because this decision that they are doing, it's not coming from a place of awareness. It's coming from a memory that they have. Today I spent 30 minutes on Instagram, and I really, looking at it, I really could strategize and do things differently tomorrow. But then tomorrow comes and they do the same thing. And then at the end of the day, they were like, I did make a decision that I should be doing something different. Well, what changed? And what I would tell these people, and what I tell people that come to me with similar problems, is instead of deciding what you want to do differently, that's already a few steps after. Let's start with the first step of awareness. And let's really observe what's going on when you're engaging in this procrastination or in social media. What really is going on? What knowledge could we acquire if we really just observed it? And remember, I said that before, awareness can be seen as knowledge. Therefore, if you have more knowledge, then you can make a better and more informed decision, and a better and more informed decision tends to be have a higher chance of success, and that's indeed what we are trying to get at. Sometimes you make a decision and it indeed you can make the change, but most often is when we make these changes, or we want to make these changes and we make these decisions to do something different, it's not coming from a place of awareness. Therefore, it is hard to make it happen because there's a lack of information. And just going back to this example of procrastination, is what I tell people is really, next time you find yourself procrastination, because we have glimpses of awareness that comes, and just observe exactly what's going on. How are you feeling in this moment? Why are you doing this? And what needs, or how is it serving you to really be engaging in this activity? Because we never do anything consciously to hurt ourselves. We never do anything with bad intentions when it comes to ourselves. Sometimes we do it for other people, but we never really do anything with the intent to harm ourselves. It's always there's always a good intention behind every action. There can be a bad result, and this intention might have not paid out, but there's always a good intention. So if you're engaging with this activity that you consider procrastination, observe yourself. Why? How is it serving you in the moment as you're doing? What are you getting? Maybe you're getting the relief and the mental relaxation because you have just been working in a very focused manner and your brain was really engaged, and now you need a break to relax, because your brain can operate at in different states, and the focused state is very different than the relaxed state, and they both serve different purposes. So maybe you just need a transition to a relaxed state because it serves you better for either in this moment or for a future task that you're wanting to do. Maybe it's just that you receive the notification about a friend that you care deeply and you want to see what's going on. You want to, maybe you are concerned that something happened when you saw a message from a friend. Maybe you were just curious because you care about and you think about this friend and you want to know what's going on. So you were just curious, and maybe look at that. But from a place without judgment, and this is important. This is not about judging. This is really about acquiring knowledge and acquiring information. It's really to bring awareness for us to understand what's really going on. And what people realize is that after they bring the awareness, they don't no longer bring such negative feelings towards what they were doing. Now they understand a little bit more of why they were doing these things that they were doing. And from this place, then, if you understand why you were doing this, maybe you needed to relax a little bit and it was just too much and you needed a 20-minute break, 30-minute break. If you were trying to then replace this time with reading a book, if it was a fiction book, maybe you can relax by reading it. But if it was like a scientific book, a technical book, even a self-help book, it still requires you to be focused, and it doesn't really provide this mental relaxation. Maybe what you could be doing instead that would help is maybe meditation. Meditation could also help release, so maybe it would fulfill this need that you are having and why social media is playing a part. But it's important to then, because to change a habit you need to transform it into a new habit. But it's important that the new habit fulfills the reason for existing of the old habit, and this is something that people sometimes forget. It's not just replacing one thing with the other. There's a need that need to be matched as well. And I hope this was clear. If not, feel free to leave me any questions, and I can try to go a little bit deeper. But I didn't want this video to be too long, so this is where I think I will end it, and is really this core idea. Awareness allows you to see what's really going on, allows you to acquire information, and allows you to acquire knowledge. And from that place, you can make better decisions, and decisions that are more likely to succeed because they come from a place of understanding and knowledge. And they come from a place of not reaction. You're seeing what's going on, and then it's like I said, it's no longer automatic, and then at that point is a choice. And if it's a choice, you can always decide to go this way or go this way. But first you have to make it a choice. Otherwise, you can see in retrospective that there was two ways, but when you're in the activity, if it's a habit and it's completely automatic, your brain is only going to see path this way. And it's always going to go this way because it's not seeing the other way. Even if you, in retrospective and later in the future, you do see that there was another path, and until you bring that awareness to be able to see in the moment both paths, it's always going to be hard. This is where I will end it. Leave me any questions. I also thank everyone that has been watching my first videos. It's been an experience for me, so thanks for supporting me, and drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned. I will keep bringing more videos in this series about life mastery, and hopefully I'll see you all soon again. Bye.